Hey, okay. I just signed off of a live stream, but somebody that I had done a private for earlier today had a good question. This is a really good question. Okay. Am I wasting my time? So, this is how, like, anything could be a waste of time. Like, when I look back on the years that I spent working in the accounting office that I worked for, was that a waste of time? Like, it wasn't what I wanted. I didn't want, when I first got the job, I thought that I wanted to be an accountant. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but so was it a waste of time? It kind of was, because by the time I realized that that job wasn't for me or for my highest good, I was just complacent. I didn't make a move. I waited for like life to make the move for me. And so yeah, that was kind of a waste of time. Spent many years there. Spent many years working two jobs and not really getting anywhere. Like if I had been working the two jobs and I had like $1 million in the bank, then maybe I wouldn't feel like it was such a waste of time. But and it seemed like yeah, like it was a waste of time. It also feels like if I could look back or go back or relive it, or my suggestion to somebody else that's in a situation like that would be to try to find a way out faster rather than just kind of, well, this is where my life is and I'm a victim of the situation and I can't do anything about it. That's how I felt. I felt like this is just my life and I just have to accept it. Shut up, get up, go to work and do what you got to do. Anyway, and when it comes to relationships, is something a waste of time? Like how do you decide whether it's a waste of time? Well, it depends what your end goal is. And I think that with women, sometimes it's a little bit different than with men because women, if they want to have children, definitely have an issue with like wasted time because, like the prime time to have children, like if you get past that age, you kind of worry, well, maybe I won't be able to have kids or whatever. So I understand it's a little different than it is for men. And I also feel like sometimes, I mean, look, there's all kinds of crazy things that can happen now. And so many women are having children later in life that it doesn't necessarily mean that if you don't have kids in your 20s, you won't have kids. However, when you're in your 20s, you may not realize that. God knows that I was like, I thought that I was a fucking 100 when I was turning 25. Anyhow. Anyways, so is something a waste of time? Something is a waste of time if it's not making you happy in the moment. Like, you have to weigh the good versus the bad. Like, if you're spending more time upset over the situation, then it's a waste of time. If you feel like, I spend more time waiting for him to call me back than anything else, then that's a waste of time. But if you're enjoying yourself, you're enjoying the company that you're with, you're compatible, you do things together, the situation functions well, you call him, he calls you back, you make a date for Tuesday night, you go out on Tuesday night, that's not a waste of time. That's not a waste of time. I dated plenty of people way back when that it didn't last, but it wasn't a waste of time. Like, I dated somebody in my 20s and I dated him for a long time. I don't look at that like it was a waste of time. It ended, it was painful, and I moved on from it, and so did he. But I wouldn't say it was a waste of time. Um, but then there are situations that I do think I wasted my time. With my friend Matt, that I've always talked about, where I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, this is what I was thinking. I was thinking that at some point he was going to see me as somebody who was different, special, unique, somebody who he was going to want to date. That's what I was thinking. And that was never going to happen. I was trying hard to be desirable to him. I don't know. I don't know what what the word would be, but he and I were friends and he was not interested in me at all in any other way than just being a friend. But I kept pushing it, and it was very painful to live through. But once again, I mean, I stood for it. Like, how many times does somebody have to tell you, no, I'm not interested before you fucking get it? Anyway, finally I got it. Anyhow, so that was a waste of time because it was painful. I remember a couple of times being so upset, and I remember going over to my friend's house and I couldn't stop crying. And she felt terrible for me, but what was she going to do? She couldn't do anything for me. I just had to, whatever, get through it. But staying in that situation as long as I did, that was a waste of time. Because the first time he told me that he wasn't interested in me, I should have just walked away from it and, went on with my life. But I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I was so persistent in thinking that we had this connection. Once again, because we go back to the same old bullshit, oh, it's a sign. Like, that's why I always tell people, stop with the signs and the nonsense, because I've been down that road. This is what happened. It was my 10-year high school reunion, so I was 28. He didn't go to the reunion because he was, God help me, on tour with his band. Anyway, he wanted to go to the reunion. I didn't want to go, but my friend talked me in. And I was studying back then Kabbalah. Now, Kabbalah teaches that soulmates usually come from different backgrounds. And mountains will move when soulmates are supposed to be together. So here came all the signs. He wanted to go, he couldn't go. I went, I didn't want to go. I come from an Italian Catholic family. He comes from a Jewish family. We're opposites, or we're not of the same background. This is something that's meant to be. All these things I was feeding myself and making myself believe it. And none of it was true. None of it. Not even this much of it. And then eventually I had to, we had a big fight. He said really mean things to me. And then that was really where it ended. And I let it go. And I moved forward. But anyhow, that to me was a waste of time. Banging your head against the wall, trying to make something happen that's not working, that's a waste of time. But if you're just with someone and you're like, well, you know what? I don't really know if I want to get married. I don't know if I want to have children. I'm just up to see where this could go. If it goes somewhere, great. If it doesn't, I'm okay with it. I'm enjoying the moment. That's not a waste of time. I don't believe that's a waste of time. Now, if you're somebody who is like, I want to get married, I want to have children, and this man is telling me I don't want kids, I don't want to be married, then I would end it. Because you're not going to change his mind. And you're not going to manipulate it. It's not going to work. It's just going to cause a big disaster down the road somewhere else. Then I would end it. But as far as let's just say, for example, you have no interest in marriage. Maybe you've already been married. Maybe you've already had your kids. Maybe you don't want any of that. And you're like, hey, I've been there. I've done that. I'm just looking for a companion. Then I would say it's not a waste of time. It's not even a waste of time if you're in a mutual relationship that's like maybe not necessarily committed, or maybe it's not, you don't see each other that much. If you're enjoying the time that you spend together, then that's not a waste of time. I don't believe that. What I think is a waste of time is trying to change something that isn't working. It's like he's telling you, I don't want a relationship. He's telling you, I'm only interested in sex only. And you're like thinking in your head that you're going to change that somehow. It's not going to change. This is what he's telling you. You have to listen to what he says. But if you're okay with it and you're like, you know what? I don't want to do the relationship thing. I don't want to meet his mother. I don't want to spend time with his family. I'm fine with the way things are. Then to me, that's not a waste of time. But once again, it goes back to the same old thing. Am I upset more than I am happy? Because if I'm upset all the time, then you're wasting your time. Life is too short to always be upset, or to be trying to manipulate something or make something into something that it isn't. Well, maybe if I do this, maybe if I say this, maybe if I wear this, it's not, none of that's going to change. It's not. But if you're like, hey, we get together on Tuesday nights, we have dinner, we go to the movies, we go for a drink at the bar, I'm content, that's not a waste of time. What's a waste of time is he told me he doesn't want to be with me, but I'm going to continue to try to make it happen. Like, that's a waste of time because it's just not going to happen. You know, like, how many times does somebody have to tell you that they're just not interested until you just realize that, look, this isn't working, and nothing is going to change around that. And I know that people get into this, well, you never know, and it changed for this one, and yeah, but the reality of the situation is when somebody is telling you something, you got to listen to them. I'm telling you, I don't want a relationship. You can't think, oh, well, I'm going to change his mind, because it just doesn't work like that. You can waste your whole life trying to change something that's just not changing. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. But like I said, if you're enjoying each other's company, you're having fun, you're happy, you haven't shed a tear over this person, he says that he's going to call, he calls, there's no commitment, but he does what he says, then I would be happy with that. There are plenty of people that legally are married. They have a marriage certificate. They wear a ring, but they have no relationship. So I'd rather have the date on Tuesday nights. Do you know what I'm saying? You got to figure out what it is that you want. And it's like that with every relationship, even with friends, even with family. If you're upset with this person more than you are enjoying their company, let it go. It ain't worth it. You're not going to change it. Forget about it. Move forward with your life. If you're trying to change something, it's just not going to work. Then that's like, hey, I'm upset more than I am content. Waste of time. I'm sitting around waiting. He doesn't fucking show up. Waste of time. You know, we're not dealing with losers anymore. We've dealt with losers in the past. Anyhow, so I hope that I explained it better in the video, because the person that asked, like, I just feel like, I know, I feel like I can talk better on video than I can write. So I figured I would just make a quick video, because it's a really good question. Like, people all the time, I don't want to waste my time. And I agree. I feel like I've wasted time working at jobs that sucked and not valuing myself, or thinking that everybody else was worth so much more than me. I don't know where that comes from, but it's very real. And how you can change that before you turn around in 20 years where, hey, I've been working at this job that I hate. How can I, do something that's a little bit more fulfilling to me? And how to change those things. Feeling like, hey, there's no way out of this. There's always a way out. There is a way out. You just have to figure it out. And sometimes you have to think out of the box. And it's the same: jobs, friendships, relationships, family members, anything that is causing you more pain than it is pleasure, it's time to end it. But you've got to make that decision. Anyway, I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.